Do you have a wet basement or first story home? Well, today is a video that you should watch. Because I have a wet basement and I solved some issues here with my emergency floor. Welcome back to Pushing Technology to Limit. I want to stop for 1 second and say hi to one of my admirers of watching my videos. I met in town over the weekend. She said something to me, and I'm not sure who she is, but she recognized me from my videos. So I just wanted to stop and say hello to her, and thanks for watching my video and all my videos. And so what I've got to do here today is I want to give you some helpful advice on how to solve not really the water coming into your home, but at least having a wet floor. That's why I call it emergency flooring for your basement. Mainly I'm dealing with basements because that's what I've got. So originally I wanted to, I didn't go through the details too much originally in the first part of the movie, because I'm doing this in two parts, which is the afterwards and the before. So we'll get to the before video in a few minutes. But I wanted to explain some of the added benefits of having a wooden floor in your basement. So a long time since I put my control room together in '06, I've been standing on a cement floor in the wintertime. So it was cold down here. And not just, it wasn't too terrible. It was like 50 degrees with a cement floor. And it was about, and that was about on a good winter day, so like if it's like 45 out or something like that, it was about 50 in this basement. If it was -1 outside with a cement floor, it was about 45 degrees. Just unbearably cold down here. And really, when you opened up the basement door to go down, the cold air from the basement that was coming up was colder than what was outside. Anyways, it felt like it. And I was just like, I am tired of this. And the other reasons why I put this floor in was because I had all the equipment that's down here was on cinder blocks. And throughout the years, it just seemed like the computer equipment was getting heavier, not lighter. And the reason why it was getting heavier because the equipment had more parts in it, because I was getting some heavy duty stuff to do some good processing with here. And so it was hard to lift it up and down off the table standing on the cement floor. So if you have something like that set up in your home, you might want to think about this floor. And the way I got it set up was because I didn't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of having a carpenter come in and put joists in and all this stuff, nail it down solid so you couldn't move it. I wanted to be able to remove my floor in case of an emergency, because it's always wet down here. And yeah, I'm not saying it's always super wet down here. You can hear my dehumidifier running in the background here. After that long rain, it's been running 24 hours a day to keep the mold out of here. Because if it starts getting moldy, I start getting allergies. You might be able to hear that my voice isn't the same as maybe on the next clip you'll see, because it's a little moldy down here from all that water. But that dehumidifier is taking out all that nasty mold smell and all the water that goes with it. So that was one of the reasons why I put the floor down here, was because I wanted some added comfort. But when winter hit, the first year, I couldn't believe the temperature. It was 65. And that was with the wooden floor. And it was, and when -1 degree weather, it was about 60 down here. Not bad. But you know what was happening? The cinder blocks are acting as an insulator between the cement floor and my wood floor. And also, one of the things that I've had happen throughout the years is that I had a little box heater down here, and I've always joked about it because it was like spitting on cold air, before the wooden floor was in, because there was no way for the heat for any wood that, I mean, there's no wood down here except for now, except for the wooden floor. There was nothing down here of substance to soak up the heat. Well, now with this wooden floor, I can get this basement up to 75 in no time at all. So in a way, it's a great way to insulate your basement without even trying, and it will reduce your heating costs, whether you got fuel oil or propane or electric heat in the wintertime when you have something wooden in your basement. So I just wanted to basically give you some of my personal thoughts why I installed this floor originally, and the added benefits to us why we have this in here. And more or less it was mainly for my working experience, because I'm the only one that's down here maintaining computer equipment, fixing them, what have you, and I never regret how much work it was to get this all set up, because really it was not much money. I just bought the wood. I had the cinder blocks from a neighbor friend of mine, and he just gave them to me because he was throwing them out. So if you have somebody that can actually reuse, you can find used cinder blocks, then really it's all you got to do is buy the wooden floor. And it is mainly oh, I can't remember what the wood is called now. I talk about it in the other half of the video there, what the floor is made out of. But it's mainly just the wood that you want to construct new floors with, and if you're building new homes or what have you. So let me get to that video now, and enjoy the video. I hope you get some helpful information from it. Today I'm going to talk about emergency flooring. In the back here, if I turn a little bit, you can see some water running down my floor. Well, I am actually standing on a subfloor that I call my emergency floor, because it keeps me dry. So stay tuned while I show you some things that are going on in this basement. First off, I'm going to show you what's coming in our basement, all the water, and how much water is on our floor. It's raining like cats and dogs, and you can see all the water that is coming down into our basement. And you can actually see that if I lean up here really close, you can actually see it looks like a little river in our basement, all the way back to the wall here where it's coming in, and it's just making everything wet. And even right here, it's just swelling up with water. Now this is our original floor. Now the one I'm standing on is the nice floor, and I'm going to show you how to install one of these things in your home. So here's my sump hole, and I've got a little 12-volt pump going on, and there's a light that comes on to tell you that the pump is running, and this will keep filling up as long as the water is coming in, and the float valve will just turn it on and shut it off. And as you see the light kind of coming and going as we're talking here, so it's coming in really fast. Leaking around my door around here, it's coming in the wall. There's actually water just running down these rocks. It's kind of hard to see everything here. It's just super wet in this area right here. Right here is the actual pump light that comes on, and that's actually connected to 120 volts, which connects to the 12-volt relay. So let me show you that right now. So here's my 12-volt DC relay. It comes off my power supply, and then I have here a receptacle which plugs my light fixture in. So this one will just come and go on as soon as the pump comes on, or the float comes, tells it to come on. It gives me the light and the pump's running. So you can actually unplug this thing. It's just a regular 120 volt plug, and it will operate your light. So basically here's my floor, and yes, I've got some kind of projects going on, so I got some piles on it. But see, I am perfectly dry going around everywhere in my basement. Anywhere that I've got raised up, all the way to here. and mainly the water just comes in and drops down to that sump hole. And I've got that sump hole so I can just maintenance it from here. So how did I get this so cheaply done? Well, let me show you underneath the floor. So right here is the first wooden panel I've got. Now all of them actually come up. Now let me show you how this thing works. So this is so if you need emergency access to your original floor. All I've got to do is just pick this board up and expose my bricks. Now basically I just use actually my neighbor's bricks. He gave them to me because he was throwing them out. And you can see that they're kind of pink, kind of red, different colors. But basically they're just loose underneath my floor. So that's where the water's coming. And this is the floor that I'm standing on. Now these two boards that I'm actually standing on now were in here, but I picked them up when it started raining so that they wouldn't get all soaking wet, because it's not really, I don't have anything jacked up so that it wouldn't be wet. So that's basically how this floor is all installed. Basically, in this basement there's not one nail on the floor. There's no wood except for the wood that I'm actually standing on, and everything is just held down by the furniture, as you will see. So these are loose boards. As you can see, they're there's a little high-rise here, so if I step on it, it goes up and down. So that means that there's nothing hanging on to it. Now the only thing that's keeping these floorboards down from jiggling too much is the fact that I've got furniture sitting on it. Just like if you were to have your chair sitting on the floor in your living room. It basically holds it down. But basically each tile here can be, if you removed all of the furniture that's in here, you could pick up this entire floor right to the cement. So basically the whole floor is virtually, you can just pick it up and just move stuff. So if you really had to get under there and clean stuff out. And the way this floor is set up, it's set up so there's air movement under there. Now the next thing that you need to have in your basement, or whatever room it is that you have in your home that's always leaking water, like our basement, is a dehumidifier. You can hear that thing running back here. Now sometime I'm going to do a little video on how to get your gravity fed water, your dehumidifier, to pump automatically. But I want to show you quickly in this video how I got mine set up so it just quickly pumps when it gets full. Let me show you that now. So here's my dehumidifier, and it doesn't have a pump in it. It's just gravity leaks down this hose. But over here I have this condensation pump, and basically I just drop one end into it and then plug it in, and every time it fills up it just pushes the water on out. And I don't use this tank at all here on the dehumidifier whatsoever. It basically is just there to keep the unit running. Now if you're wondering how much this all costs, it was really not that much. All I had to pay for was the wood, because my neighbor friend of mine gave me his used cinder blocks. And basically all you need to do is just line your basement, or whatever room it is that you have, maybe a garage, something that you want to actually use to be nice. I mean, yeah, this basement is still kind of a wet mess at times, but with a little TLC that I've given it, it's actually pretty good. Now the water still comes through it like a sieve, and then it goes out the other side with the pump. But if you have something like a room like this in your home that you want to use, I mean, basically I'm on dry ground all the time, and I don't have to worry about the water, and all I have to do is just make sure that that pump is still pumping, and I'm perfectly dry, and have the dehumidifier running. And basically that dehumidifier has to run all the time when it's raining, because it has an awful nasty mold smell down here when it's just wet outside. So you may have a nasty mess of a nightmare of a basement. You should do this. I highly recommend it. I And in fact, I didn't really tell you the other benefits. It's not just the fact that it keeps you drier, but this basement has no heat in it, except for the furnace that runs that puts the heat into our home. But with my computer equipment running down here, there's a little heat. But it stays about 65 down here in the winter. And it's about 60 when it's -1 outside. So that's pretty darn good compared to having no heat down here except for the equipment running that's putting out heat. And that actually will reduce your fuel bills in the wintertime if you're somewhere where there's you have cold weather, which most of us, up here in the north always will have some sort of a cold weather. You may have cold weather when it rains like we have right now while it's raining like cats and dogs. But, really, when it comes right down to it, I don't ever regret how much work I had to do to get this floor installed. I had somebody help me do the cutting, so that all I had to do was just lay it around the poles and stuff like that. But it's worth the time and effort you put into fixing your basement. Now, yes, this basement still will leak, but the water will still leave. And with the dehumidifier running, it's fine. Actually, I don't have a problem with the smell down here. If the power went out, yes, I would. I would have to either run that dehumidifier on a generator or something just to keep the smell from permeating and going upstairs into our home. So I highly recommend doing something like this. This is plywood, but really when you get right down to it, what you need is the kind of material that you're going to run or lay down and run along your floor that's for making floors with. So it's the highest quality plywood that's out there is made for flooring. So I hope that you get some good information off this video. It's quicker than some of my other videos I've done, but I'm not done with my emergency proofing stuff. I'm working on another video for emergency appliances, on how to run your appliances when those go out. When the power goes out, you can still run your appliances. So I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you the next time on Pushing Technology to the Limit.